How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. It helps out, means a ton. We're growing closer to 100 faster than I thought, starting from scratch, and it means a ton. So, with that being said, also, don't forget to go down in the comments. Let me know your ideas about the voice of all things. If you're new to the channel, say what's up. Let me know your ideas. I love talking to people. I love different ideas. I love discussing things, all this kinds of stuff. And this is the perfect topic for that because, well, if we're being honest, the voice of all things, Haki, all of this stuff, we know just as much as what we don't know. All of these things are still very mysterious and not fully fleshed out. Even the most fleshed out Haki that we know, there's still a lot of stuff we don't know. I should also point out very early on in the video right here that I believe, yes, the Third Eye tribe can also use the voice of all things. They're a weird little caveat in this discussion, and I'm just going to leave them over to the side because I don't have enough brain power right now to bring them into this discussion and all the things that can mean. Or, yeah, they just seem like a weird little mutant species. I don't know. They're going to stay out to the side. All right, just leave them out of that. If you want to, let me know down in the comments how you think they're involved in everything. If they're involved in everything, why they have this ability, all of this stuff. If it's just because they happen to grow a third eye, I don't know. Leaving them out of there. Going on, getting into it. Is the voice of all things Haki? Is it Naki? Is it not Haki? I'm sure most people were able to get that joke in my stupid sense of humor, but it might not translate to everybody. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I'm actually leaning more towards it not being Haki. But I will say if it is Haki, I know a lot of people want to link it to observation. I would actually link it to conquerors before I would link it to observation. Now, my reason for this is because really the only links I see to observation is the fact that observation is used for sensing people. You can hear people's voices if you can't actually see them. I believe the voice you're sensing is just, I sense their life presence. These kinds of things, I understand the kind of base level link we see there, but I don't see anything that actually connects it. And because voice of all things seems to be something you need to be born with the ability to do, that doesn't link to observation Haki because we know you can learn observation Haki. You don't have to be born with the ability to do it. You have to be born with the ability to use Conqueror's Haki. So if you really do have to be born with the ability to use the voice of all things, and considering how rare it is, I'm gonna be on that boat rather than saying anybody can learn it. It's far too rare for me to believe that anybody can learn how to use it. So, with that being said, that link between conquerors and voice of all things being an inherited trait, I guess you could call them, that is a much more substantial link than anything anybody's ever said about it and observation Haki linking. I know some people like to think of it as a very high level of observation Haki, but that doesn't make sense to me. Granted, like I said, things are still mysterious with Haki. We don't know the depth of where all this stuff goes. But it seems weird on two fronts. One, the idea that I do believe you have to be born with the ability to use the voice of all things. If that's not the case, scratch it. Alright, we'll go back to the drawing board. But with being under that impression, it's strange that you can learn observation Haki, but then there's this second phase, this second set of rules to the same Haki, but you don't have access to those because you have to be born with the affinity to use that second set of rules. We're taking a Haki and adding a different set of rules on top of it for an upper level, but yet we have people using this upper level before they use levels below it. Because we know an upper level of observation Haki that you can learn is Future Sight. That you can learn Future Sight if you are good enough at using observation Haki. Luffy was able to hear the Sea Kings underneath the sea at Fishman Island, which I'm gonna call that the voice of all things, and he was using that way before he got extremely proficient with observation Haki, way before he was even relatively close to being able to use Future Sight. So Luffy bypassed the learnable high levels and went straight to the unlearnable high level and then caught up in the learnable levels. It seems like a strange way to go through a power system, to go through a type of Haki to me. Now, obviously, there's a lot of stuff going into all this. This conversation is very complex and very, very nuanced. But still, that's a reason why it doesn't make as much sense to me for it to be observation Haki as Conquerors. Now, the idea of it being outside of Haki in general, to me, makes a little bit more sense than it being involved in Haki, because one, the Haki that it's most relatable to me is Conquerors because of the requirements. But at the same time, Conquerors has never really been used in a way to communicate anything. Conquerors has been used to knock people out if they're not strong enough to stand against your willpower, I guess you could call it. It's now been used in a more combative way. We haven't seen it used as communication, and they are just very, very different uses. So just because they have the same requirement, but then have extremely different uses to them, also seems a little strange. Now, with it just not being involved with Haki at all, the reason this seems perfectly fine to me, and the reason I'm probably going to lean towards that idea until I am told, yes, it is related to Haki, then at that point I'll go, okay, now it's time to delve in and investigate which form of Haki, how do you gain access to it, what all does it do, all of this stuff, until I get something that tells me or hints to me that yes, it is involved in this type of Haki. I'm going to lean towards it not being Haki at all because, well, we have devil fruits, Haki, Rokushiki techniques, we have people who are just randomly super strong. Like, there's no reason for Luffy to be able to pick up the entire mast of a ship at the age of 17 just because he lived out in the woods and has a gum fruit. There's no reason for that. Strength is a weird thing in One Piece in general. And past all that, we have this weird little girl back in Little Garden that has hypnotic pain abilities. There are just weird, non-explained abilities in One Piece that, as far as we know, yes, you can put that caveat in front of it, as far as we know, aren't connected to Haki, aren't connected to devil fruits, aren't connected. Rokushiki techniques aren't connected to either of those, and they're crazy abilities that you can learn just from what, physical and mental training? There's so many weird, off-the-wall abilities in One Piece that aren't explained through Haki or devil fruits that seems perfectly acceptable to leave the voice of all things in that camp. You could take a Rokushiki technique like Tekai, Iron Body. That seems a lot like armament Haki. But as far as we know, it's just a Rokushiki technique. So to me, if Tekai isn't armament Haki, even though it has a very similar effect, there's no reason to just assume the voice of all things is observation Haki just because it has a kind of similar effect. There's no reason to assume that it is Conqueror's Haki just because it has a similar requirement or might have a similar requirement. You can, and that's perfectly fine because, like I said, it's all mysteries. These are my ideas. I would love to know yours down below. But, like I said, this is why I lean towards it being Naki instead of Haki. Because just because there are things that are similar about it to other forms of Haki, there are things that are similar to Haki that aren't Haki already in place in the series. So it's no reason it can't be another one of those things. And on top of this, it's even rarer than any form of Haki we've seen. So if anything, if it is Haki, which I'm not opposed to it being, I am on the boat of it being a almost maybe byproduct or branching path of Conqueror's Haki. Mainly because it seems to have even more requirements. It is even more rare. Even fewer people are born with this ability to use the voice of all things. Those are my thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. If you're new around here, let me know down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on the video. Let me know your thoughts on the voice of all things. Whatever you want. If you're a long-term person around here, well, long-term, and I hadn't even been that long since I started. But you know who you are. Go down there. Let me know your thoughts. Talk to me, guys. Tell me what's up. So, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. I'm out.